Imagine in your line of work, you jot down some words on a piece of paper, somebody gets a hold of that piece of paper and says, "Oh, cool," and stuffs it in the back of a drawer, and it's kept there for, let's say, 30, 40 years. It's then brought out and sold at an auction for $1 million. That is pretty much the premise of this video of the 7 most expensive song lyrics in the world. But before you get excited about this potential $1 million scheme, it's important to note that somebody talented will need to sing the words scribbled on that paper. And one person that met this criteria was John Lennon. So in the number 7 spot is Give Peace a Chance, written by John Lennon and Yoko Ono in 1969. As a musical protest to the Vietnam War, this song became the anthem for pop culture during this emotional time. Recorded in a Montreal hotel room during their extended honeymoon, the idea was to use their fame to spread messages of world peace. They gained a lot of publicity, and during this week-long stay at the Queen Elizabeth Hotel, John requested a recording engineer to record the vocals of this anti-war anthem. Celebrities and journalists sang the song, with John performing the lead vocals and playing the guitar. The song became popular, and in 2008, Christie's of London auctioned off the original handwritten lyrics for $841,000, giving it the number 7 position on our list. John is also involved with number 6, as he was a member of the Beatles' hit song, Hey Jude. This song was penned by Paul McCartney, however, credited to both McCartney and Lennon. In April of 2020, during a truly challenging time for the world, Julian's auction house, no relation to Julian Lennon, was able to auction off the original scribbled down notes of this song for $910,000. The chart-topping song was composed during a trip Paul made to visit Cynthia and her son Julian after her divorce from John. Paul composed the song in his head, wanting to cheer up and encourage Lennon's young son Julian after his father left his mother for Yoko Ono. The song peaked at number 1 in several nations, selling more copies than any other single in the UK, US, Australia, and Canada in 1968. Its 9-week tenure at the top of the Billboard Hot 100 is evidence of its popularity at the time, and its ongoing inclusion in lists of the greatest songs of all time is evidence of its enduring appeal today. Let us do you a favor by continuing with Beatlemania into the number 5 spot. The piece of writing for this next song crosses the $1 million barrier, selling for $1,202,500. The double-sided single sheet of paper with Lennon's handwriting on it documents the development of one of the Beatles' most well-known musical masterpieces and features crossouts and corrections all over the page. Which song is being referenced here? The Beatles' classic 1967 album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, ended with the song A Day in the Life. The album spent 15 weeks at the top of the American Billboard 200 list and 27 weeks at the top of the British charts. The Beatles' road manager, Mal Evans, once owned the lyrics, which sold for more than the $500,000 to $700,000 range predicted by Sotheby's. The lyrics were sold by an unknown American collector who had bought the sheet in 1992 for $93,000 at Sotheby's, so they pretty much 10x'd their original investment of $93,000. How much would you be willing to spend on your favorite pie? 10, 20 bucks? Well, this American pie sold for $1,205,000 in 2010. The lyrics to the famed Don McLean song was auctioned off by Christie's and is the 4th highest auction price for song lyrics. The song propelled the former folk singer to fame as a headliner. Despite its length, the song reached the top spot on Billboard Charts in early 1972. According to Christie's, the draft that was auctioned is 16 pages long with 237 lines of handwritten text and 26 lines of typed text. It contains several notes as well as lines that weren't in the final draft. During the time of the plane disaster that claimed the lives of early rock and roll musicians Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper, Don McLean's youth experience carrying newspapers served as the inspiration for the song that became his biggest hit. Let's bring back the Beatles for the number 3 spot with their single, All You Need Is Love. In 2005, the John Lennon written lyrics were auctioned off for $1.25 million, which is rather impressive given that the other Beatles songs have had greater global impact. Perhaps global is the key here, because this song was for Britain's contribution to Our World, the first live global television link for which the Beatles were filmed performing it at EMI Studios. The program was broadcast via satellite and seen by an audience of over 400 million in 25 countries. This special occasion may have been the gold link for the high price these lyrics commanded in 2005. Number 2 is still in the $1 million range, and the newest entrant to the list, as the lyrics for this song were sold in 2023 for $1.74 million. What would be more of a shock is if the song was called Mongolian Rhapsody. The Bohemian Rhapsody lyrics by Queen hint that Freddie Mercury thought about calling his satirical opera song Mongolian Rhapsody. The discovery was found as a result of the uncovering of a 15-page folio that had handwritten lyrics, vocal lines, and harmonies that the artist had used to create his 1975 hit. Mercury appears to have crossed out the term Mongolian and added the now famous Bohemian towards the top of an introduction page. Due to the inadequacy of technology in those days, the song took several weeks to compose, as the vocals of the song are from the bandmates and not any other music personnel. This song was the lead single from their album A Night at the Opera, and some have suggested that this song was about Freddie's personal struggles. The band agreed to keep the true meaning of the song secret. Bohemian Rhapsody has been voted the best song of all time across multiple media outlets and remains the UK's third highest selling single of all time. Number 1 is ironic because this was never a number 1 song on leading charts, but Bob Dylan's Like a Rolling Stone tops our chart of the most expensive song ever. The handwritten notes contain a nearly finished version of the lyrics, a few scribbled illustrations of animals in the margins, and most unfortunate, several rhymes that were rejected. These era-defining lyrics sold at Sotheby's in 2014 for $2,045,000. The song came out of Dylan being unhappy with the public's expectations of him and the direction his career was taking. He considered quitting the music business. Fortunately for you and I, and the person that owned these lyrics, he didn't follow through with his sentiments at the time, as the world and several musical acts like Jimi Hendrix, the Rolling Stones, the Wailers, and Green Day made covers of his most famous song. As always, like, subscribe, and share this content if it's provided you value. And if you have a musician friend, why don't you ask them for all the originals of their song lyrics? This is Luxury a Lust. Toodles!